This is episode 3 of the Hard to Name podcast. This week, guys, Adam's on vacation, so I've found some very suitable replacements. Please welcome first-time guest on the show, first ever guest on the Hard to Name podcast, the Loot Troop. Loot Troop, how are you guys doing?
We're excellent. Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you so much for having us.
And if you guys don't know, and you should know, check out Loot Troop on YouTube. They have great Let's Plays, hilarious. Nanny McCree's in the house. So much good times watching these guys. And you can follow them on Twitter at Loot Troop, I'm pretty sure, right? The official the handle for you guys.
Loot Troop Gaming, yeah.
So check them out, definitely. But last week, Adam and I talked about the top 3 all-time Disney games. We usually tend to do like a little spur-of-the-moment countdown with each other. And it got a little heated between SNES Aladdin and Genesis Aladdin. I'm sure you guys were aware last week. I still say that SNES Aladdin is leaps and bounds superior to the Sega Genesis version, but what do you guys think?
You have my vote on that SNES Aladdin. That's where my heart lies, with SNES Aladdin for sure.
See, I know I picked my guess well. What can I say? But yeah, I never owned it, but my parents rented it for me all the time until I beat it as a kid. And I don't know, the Genesis as a kid, just like one of those games that made you throw the freaking controller down because it was so frustrating.
Personally, the Genesis controller, I just hated it. It was really gross and cumbersome. It reminded me of now it reminds me of the fat Xbox controller.
That's what I was just gonna say that. It reminds me of the Xbox controller, which just, the first time I ever held one of those was super awkward.
Yeah, definitely. See, we also had that discussion actually off air about controllers, and the Genesis is actually one of his top 3 most hated, so there you go. I think the Genesis, at the time, for fighting games, it completely 100% sucks, and it is not the preferred choice of mine. Just the weird, you have to press start to switch to your kicks if you're just, all this craziness. But for a Sonic game, I think it does its job pretty well, but it was very awkward. I definitely agree, but it does have its awesome points, like it's compatible with an Atari, so that's pretty awesome.
Really? I never knew that.
Yeah, you can plug a Sega Genesis into an Atari 2600, and it'll work.
Oh, damn.
Wow.
So, food for thought. But yeah.
I always thought it felt like holding a giant starfish, like an awkward starfish.
I can see that. Or like a dilapidated boomerang, kind of.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. I mean, my preferred controller all time would probably be, I don't know, I love the model of the PlayStation controller, just in general. I think it's...
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very cozy.
I have grown very fond of the PS4 controller. I used to say Xbox 360 was the way to go, but now the PS4 controller, now that they added the actual triggers on it, it's great.
Yes. See, at first when I got a PS4 with like those sticks, man, they throw you off. They really do for a second. Like initially, but once you get used to the sticks, they just feel different. More like, I don't know. But man, once you get it down, the PS4 controller is where it's at. Shout out to Doom. I've been spending a lot of time with Doom, guys, since we last had the show. Awesome game. Yes.
Doom is amazing. I Redboxed it a few times, and I haven't brought myself to buy it yet, but I really want to get it. It's an amazing game. I really enjoy the glory kills. I thought it was going to be really gimmicky at first, but it just flows so well into the actual gameplay and everything.
It's so fast. It's such a fast little game for a console shooter. Probably the fastest console shooter I've ever played, honestly. It's pretty freaking fast, guys. But the multiplayer, I think it's a bad rap. I just think it's straight up old school. I think it's decent. It's not bad. It's very passable. So lighten up on the multiplayer there, guys, on YouTube in the comments section. Give it a chance. Just, Overwatch.
Yeah, it seemed really more deathmatchy than anything. Just kind of get in there, get your kills in, and get out. Not too objective-based or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely. Like, sometimes you're not in the mood for, like, sneaking around as a Reaper or time-traveling as a Tracer. Shout out to Overwatch, too, which I've been spending a lot of time with. Sometimes you just want to get in there and get your hands dirty, some good old-fashioned deathmatch. And I think Doom definitely satisfies that need if that's what you want out of your game.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the world of the Loot Troop, I see you've been streaming a lot of, what was that new indie game you guys just got? You've been streaming?
Song of the Deep?
Yes. I could, man, blanked for a second. But I've been watching a couple of those videos, guys. How is that game for you guys?
It is really, really fun. It's beautiful. The graphics and the art style and the colors, they're really vibrant. It kind of goes, it's weird because it's like a mixture of like 3D and like some 2D it kind of looks like, and that totally fits in with the whole it being a story, like a story being told to you as you play. So, because it kind of looks like it's out of a book or something, but the mechanics are pretty great. Some of them are frustrating, but it ties together pretty well and it moves you along. There aren't really any slow parts yet.
Right on. It looks good. It looks really fun from what I've seen you guys play.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a shot. If you're a fan of like Metroid or Castlevania, you'll love it. It's very akin to those types of games where you're running across a dungeon, picking up upgrades, backtracking to open those doors you couldn't open before, and just kind of progressing and growing as you discover this expansive map. Yeah, it's a really fun game. I enjoy it a lot.
I know one thing. Bloodstained can't come soon enough. I'm so jacked up for that game when it finally drops.
That's the one that was kickstarted by the original Castlevania guy, right?
Yes.
Yes. I haven't seen too much on it, just like little bits and pieces here and there, but it looks so good. The short trailer that I saw got me really interested.
Brings up another topic to me, actually, spur of the moment. We did talk about Mighty Number 9 on our debut episode. Have you guys spent any time with Mighty Number 9?
No, I can't say. I've heard mostly bad things about it, but I personally haven't played it, so I don't have like a real opinion of my own.
Right.
It just it seemed like a huge Mega Man knockoff, so I think that's why it's been getting a lot of crap. But
well, the creator is the creator of Mega Man.
Oh.
Yes.
Of Mighty Number 9. What kind of killed Mighty Number 9 for me, though, was that he outright said, this was not my best work. Like, I think a week after launch, he had admitted on Twitter.
The famous quote on Twitter was,
yes,
just be thankful the game exists, or something to that extent.
Exactly, yes. And that's where I was like, okay.
Rub people the wrong way a little bit.
Yeah. If you're going to go as far as to, just kind of say, there it is, you get what you get, and not like kind of own up to it, I don't think it's worth my time. And I'm also not too big of a fan of Mega Man games in general. Not because I don't like them or anything, it's because I'm not very good at them.
I definitely agree on certain Mega Man games I'm terrible at, but there's like, I don't know, the X series, I think, which I reviewed the first X game a while back, and like, I think that by the X series they had understood how hard the earlier games were and made it a little bit more hand-holding, so to speak. But other than that, like the early Mega Man 1, I'm just like, I'm lost, I'm confused, I don't know. It's impossible for me to beat that game.
The only one I've ever beaten all the way through is Mega Man 3, and that's it.
That's actually...
All the other ones, I get to like the second world, and I'm like, this is too hard. I'm gonna waste my time doing other things.
Yeah. Things I can actually beat.
Yes.
Well, growing up, I mean, were your starter consoles like the NES, the Atari? Like, what in your childhood, what would you say was your main console?
My main console was the Super Nintendo for sure. We had an NES and we had an Atari 2600, but those were like reserved for my dad. I wasn't allowed to touch those ones. But the Super Nintendo, Donkey Kong Country, the Aladdin game, and this other Mickey Circus Mystery game, those were the three that I started off playing games with. My fondest memory is of playing Donkey Kong Country with my dad, and he would have to beat all the bosses for me because I could never figure it out.
Yeah. I remember getting Donkey Kong Country, I don't know, I was like 8 or 9 on Christmas morning, and like one of those jump up and down crazy kid memes. I was totally that. Like,
did you get the combo pack where it was Donkey Kong Country and the Super Nintendo at the same time?
No, I already had the Super before that.
Oh, gotcha. How about you, Dex?
I'd say See, because my parents weren't really into video games, so I think, well, the first console I ever got, my dad, he got me a Sega Game Gear one time.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, I only had like 3 games for it. I had Pack Attack, which is kind of like Pac-Man but Tetris, and then I had Jurassic Park and Sonic 2, and then he had a lot of different roommates, and I saw him every other weekend. So some of them would have consoles that I'd play on, like the SNES. I'd play Donkey Kong Country, and then eventually my dad ended up buying me a PS1. So I guess either a PlayStation or my Sega Game Gear were like my starter consoles.
Right on. Man,
How about you?
For me, NES in my household.
Nice.
My first gaming memory is watching my mom play like Tetris. No, not Tetris. Dr. Mario.
Yeah, Dr. Mario. That's one of my favorites. When it came out on the Virtual Console for the Wii U, I was like, I have to get it. There's no question in my mind.
It's one of those games when you're a kid also. It's like the mom game. It's like, I think everyone had a game their mom, at least that, like my group of friends, like, man, my mom was like, she wouldn't let me play. She was so obsessed with it. Yeah, it was a mom game in my house.
Yes, I agree. Tetris and Dr. Mario for sure were mom games.
Something about puzzles and moms. It's just, you know. But yeah, like, I don't know, like, the NES years, I didn't have a lot of the AAA type. Like, I had, like, Mickey Mousecapade, stuff like that was just horrible, but I didn't know better. You know what I mean? I had Castlevania 2, and, like, I crucify that game all the time on the channel. Like, I hate that game with a passion. But I loved it as a kid because that's all I knew, you know?
Yeah.
But, I mean, who knows? Like, some people grew up on an Atari, and they'll take a span and they won't touch another game to a PlayStation. So it's all you know, personal preference, I guess.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I just do want to point out one thing real quick. Adam, did you hear that? One of his top 3 games were Aladdin on the SNES once again.
Yes, absolutely. Adam, SNES Aladdin.
I'm sure smoke's going to be coming out of his ears when he hears this. So.
Shots fired.
Don't we have that in the garage?
We do have it in the garage. I had to buy that game twice because I had my original copy, and then when GameStop became a thing, and I was a dumb kid, I was like, I'm gonna trade in every single game that I have to buy new games, and I traded in all these classics like a big dummy, and I've been slowly getting back my collection that I had as a child, but it's taken a long time.
Oh yeah, and so many things. I'm sure you feel the same way that I don't have now. I wish I still did. Like
Exactly.
All the time. All my Pokemon cards. Oh my god.
Oh, don't get me started about Pokemon.
Well, now that we're on the topic of Pokemon, are you playing Pokemon Go?
I am not, and this was actually very good segue, man. I wanted to talk about Pokemon Go on the show this week, guys. No, I'm not, have ever been into the Pokemon series. A lot of people don't know that about me. I don't hate Pokemon. Actually, my daughter is obsessed thoroughly with Pokemon, has a dictionary on Pokemon. I know a lot about Pokemon, I'm just not into it. So I don't like, it's just until Pokemon Go came out where like all of my social media feeds are like literally flooded with something I don't really care about. And like, you know what I mean? It's just like, I'm not like sour on it. It's not sour grapes, but like I'm kind of sick of hearing about it. But Adam's on the other end of it. You know what I mean? So people like Adam love Pokemon, you know, stuff like that. So
the whole experience is kind of bittersweet in my eyes because there's a ton of people out there. They're super into Pokemon. They're talking to people they never would have talked to, getting outside. But it is kind of odd after you look up from your phone and you just see this sea of people staring into their phones. That's like the only weird thing about this whole experience with Pokemon Go. It's a cool community-driven thing, but there has to be a little bit more face-to-face interaction instead of just staring at phones. I don't know. I find it a little bit weird.
Because the only interaction that I've seen people have is like if like a special Pokemon's nearby, sometimes people will
shout it out,
or be like walk up to individual people and ask, "Oh, hey, did you catch this one?" or whatever, and then they'll just answer yes or no. And then some people will like come up and ask other questions or give each other things, but like stickers or like other Pokemon related merchandise. But like other than that, there's not a whole lot of interaction. And I think they could implement that with like putting in a trade system, because they don't have anything like that where you can like switch Pokemon with each other. but
Right.
it would be better. Like they could create more of a sense of community rather than just tons of people gathered in one spot on their phones.
It's a great first start, I would say, but it does need a lot of work. And it is kind of getting a little tired hearing about it, in all honesty, because I love Pokemon. I've been a Pokemon trainer since day one, but I mean, it's cool. It's a cell phone game. I'm more excited for the new title, the Sun and Moon, that's actually coming out.
Yeah, actual Pokemon game.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, like, I'm guilty of it too, guys. I downloaded Pokemon Go on my phone for my daughter, like, to go on to the park and stuff like that. Does it freeze a lot for you guys? Because a lot of people that I've talked to that has that problem with it, that's the servers.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't know, because I also have a garbage phone, so I'm not 100% sure if it's the app or my phone, but I think it's a combination of both.
Well, I think it has a lot to do with how many people are on it, like the servers, because didn't they say that they didn't spend a lot of money on the servers because they didn't expect it to take off so
something like,
so well?
Yeah, they definitely underestimated, which, I mean, it's smart business-wise, because all you have to do is take one look at any video game news feed. They're breaking stock market records, they're doing all this crazy stuff just for this half-finished game, in my eye.
Right. And see, you were saying how you were like, you look up and you see a bunch of people on your phones. For people like you and me who are gamers, that's definitely kind of normal to people like us, in a way. But to people like my wife, who know nothing about any of this kind of stuff, it's a little scary to her to think that it takes a game to get masses of people to go out of their house. You know, to look at it from her eyes, I get it. You know what I mean? It is a little bit scary in a way to see. I don't know. It's good that everyone's getting out and all that. Like you said, interaction could be a lot more, progression, though. Progression.
Yeah, one step at a time. I think it's a step in the right direction, but it still needs some work.
I'm telling you, man, it's a government setup.
Oh my gosh. I had went to a Pokemon Go event last week, and I was at a coffee shop getting a bottle of water, and there was a guy preaching that this whole scenario was a government conspiracy to get us away from our houses so they could wiretap and all this other stuff. I feel like it's definitely affecting certain people in a certain way as well. It's sort of driving the paranoia up a little bit.
You need to start listening to that guy, because he probably knows. He probably knows what's up.
I don't know, wasn't he homeless?
Oh my god.
I'm pretty sure he was homeless.
Yeah, that was a glaring detail I left out. But.
Well, shout out to anti-conspiracy homeless Pokemon guy. Wherever you may be.
Yeah, while
chastising.
Beamed straight to his molar radio.
I will say though, if I was into Pokemon, this would be thoroughly exciting for me, I'm sure. I get the hype, guys, like totally, like people that are into it. I'm just like I said, if you're not into it and you see it nonstop, oh gosh.
Yeah, I can understand that, because if you're going on like social media just to see what else is up, like it's kind of irritating if you're being flooded with things that you're not really into and you miss whatever else might be on your feed.
It's like hearing about the Kardashians all the time.
Oh, good lord. Yeah.
Just nobody wants to hear it anymore, but it happens anyways.
You know, who supports these people? Let's get into the Kardashians, since you brought them up.
Oh, God, I don't even know anything about them.
I don't know shit about them, except I don't like them. I don't have to know that. I can just look and hear them, just the tone of their voice. Not to be judgmental, but I don't like the Kardashians. Any of them. You know what I mean?
No, they're all trash, in my opinion.
Who supports these people? Who,
Send your hate mail.
where are the actual fans of these people? Because every time you see any post about the Kardashians, talk to anyone in real life about the Kardashians, it's always negative. Who are these supporters and where are they at?
That's what I don't understand it, because they hate on them, but they're their supporters because they give them views, they watch their stuff, they like religiously follow them, but they hate them.
Yeah.
Like they're their own supporters, I think. I think
that's also scary.
They support themselves, and they just have this inner network of like Kardashian grossness going on. They just pay each other to be assholes to each other, and that's it.
They lease out an old abandoned Hardee's, and they pay a bunch of people to have social media accounts and just sit there all day and praise them online. Oh my god. Well, let's get off the Kardashians, please. but
Yeah.
because nobody wants to hear that. I don't even know where we are now in the show. The Kardashians totally threw me off.
Yeah, we were talking about Pokemon Go.
There you go. No pun intended. But I will say one thing to wrap up the Pokemon Go talk, guys. I don't remember another game taking over the nation like this in quite some time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
man, I can't even think of any, in all honesty. What was the...
No, because even people I know who don't really like Pokemon are getting this app.
Yeah.
I mean, you could even say you'd have to go back to the glory days of gaming for when games literally took over. Like when Nintendo ruled the world, as they like to say. Like when Super Mario Brothers 3. Exactly. Man after my own heart. But we're going to take a little break. We'll be right back with more of the Loot Troop here on the Hard to Name podcast. Maybe we'll have a spontaneous top 3. We'll see what happens. Glad you guys could join us. We'll be right back. This is Hibiki TMD on YouTube. I love retro gaming, pro wrestling, all things nerd related pretty much, except Star Trek. I hate Star Trek. I do a little podcasting, game reviews, retrospectives, all sorts of goodness. So whatever your taste is, you're bound to find it here on Hibiki TMD. And follow me on Twitter at the Hibiki TMD, or check us out on Facebook on the Hibiki TMD on Facebook group. Thanks for stopping by. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, like the videos, feel free to comment. There's plenty more to come on Hibiki TMD. And we are back on the Hard to Name podcast, number 3. Like I said, Adam's on vacation. We'll see Adam next week. Adam, be safe in your journeys. But this week, guys, the Loot Troop is in the house. Fellow looters, woo! Fellow looters from their show, welcome. If this is your first time on Hibiki TMD on YouTube, please make sure to hit that subscribe, like, and always feel free to comment. Loot Troop is back with me, like I said. Let's get right into it. Ghostbusters 2016 has came and gone. Guys, we talked off air. You haven't seen it. Unfortunately, I have. What are your guys' thoughts on this whole fiasco that's been the whole Ghostbusters ride? It seems like it's been a hell of a ride getting this movie out.
So I'm gonna crucify myself right now by saying I actually have not seen any Ghostbusters movie.
What?
I have not seen any Ghostbusters. I'm really bad at that.
Well, I'm gonna go and actually grab some nails so I can help with your crucifixion, because that's actually one of the first times I've ever heard that in my life from someone my age.
You can name probably 57 different good movies, and I probably haven't seen them. I haven't seen a lot of movies. I'm kind of out of the loop.
He hasn't seen a lot of like what would be considered classics. Or
Wait. Have you seen Star Wars?
Yes, I've seen every Star Wars.
Oh my gosh.
But he never saw any of the Back to the Futures movies until I made him watch them.
Indiana Jones, never seen those.
Dude,
he's ridiculous.
You gotta get on it.
I know, he hadn't seen like any of the Jurassic Parks. Like he'd only seen bits and pieces in passing
on TNT. Well, I don't know if you have TNT out there, but it's like they just play old movies on repeat for like ever, all day.
Yeah, it's one of those Turner stations, like Turner Classic.
Yeah.
I give him such a hard time, and I force him to watch things.
Now, see, now you're like tickling my interest part of my brain. Is it like no desire to see these movies, just haven't gotten around to it?
I just haven't gotten around to it because I'm not one of my way to sit and watch a movie. I'd rather spend that time playing video games, in all honesty. And that's what ends up happening. Like, I'll throw a movie on, I'll watch 20 minutes, and I'm like, I'm bored. I'm going to play video games.
Well, hey, that's totally a fair trade.
So. Yeah, so if I'm asked to, I'll sit down and watch a movie. But I get very fidgety. I don't know. Something's wrong with me.
Well, I mean, you don't have to, I guess, have seen the previous Ghostbusters to come into this one. I guess, I mean, it seems like the kids today, my kids are really into this movie. I'm going to admit, they're pretty excited. They liked it. Dex, did you see Ghostbusters when you were a kid?
The original, yes. Not too many times, but I did see it.
No, did you?
And I liked it.
You did. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Ghostbusters 2 gets universally panned. I actually like Ghostbusters 2. I don't think it's better than the first by any means, but I did like it. Now, this Ghostbusters, oh my. First of all, it didn't have a chance to begin with. Let's be real. It doesn't matter if it was men in the roles either. It wasn't the original cast, so it didn't have really any legs to stand on. It was going to get just destroyed initially.
Yeah, because I have seen a lot about the original Ghostbusters. I've watched a lot of theories and stuff on it because of all the backlash from this new Ghostbusters. So it piqued my interest in the sense that people hated it so much, the new one, that I did do a little bit of research, and it seemed the new Ghostbusters, it just has that, it lost any sort of grit that the original one had, based off of how it looks and how kind of, I don't know, it just seems really mainstream. It makes me think of a Walmart brand, in all honesty. Because it's very just, here are all the main points bundled into one package that appeals to the current demographic and time. Here you go, have it. They could have fit any franchise in that slot, and I feel like it would have ended up the same way.
Well, Mad Max was pretty good.
Yes, it was. It was amazing. I loved Mad Max, but I feel like they had the right director behind that too.
Right. I mean, but Mad Max proved that it is possible to bring that kind of grit feel back, that not changing. It is doable, but it doesn't happen very often at all. And it definitely didn't happen in this. I think a lot of it for me, like I said, to appealing to, I'm the demographic, and I meant by that was I'm not a big fan of Melissa McCarthy in general. My biggest issue was casting in this movie. And I think another thing that made the original so great, that Saturday Night Live cast, the Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd era of Saturday Night Live, fucking legends. You know what I mean?
Yes,
absolutely.
And I'm not a big fan of modern SNL at all. I don't really see all the appeal and why people think they're so funny. I get it, they're funny, but to compare that, I don't know. There's so many ways you could go with. I'll put it in layman's terms, I guess, and boil it down to the pacing of the movie was off. A lot of the jokes were corny. The trailer didn't do the justice of how corny the jokes got even more. I will say that, what's the guy that plays Thor? Chris Hemsworth? Is that his name?
Yes.
He was actually the shining star in this movie for me. He actually, legitimately, I did laugh. I laughed or two at Ghostbusters, guys. I will freely admit, it did make me laugh. Only when he was doing the lines. Other than that, the CGI was atrocious. It was just...
Really?
Oh my.
That's unfortunate, because I feel like it was very CGI heavy too.
Yes. But see, I also just saw The Big Friendly Giant, and I loved that movie. That was a great movie. And
Really?
Yes.
I've been wondering about that movie.
The CGI was phenomenal in that movie. It really was.
Oh, I want to see it even more now.
I highly recommend that movie. Great little family flick. But anyway, Ghostbusters, guys, not for me. I mean, what can you say? There's been so much backlash on James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd, as I'm sure you guys have heard from his video. You know, the SJW is out in full force. Everything about Ghostbusters. It was just been a train wreck on social media since day one. You know.
Yeah, it was doomed from the start. Initially, when they had the rumors of there being an all-female cast, everybody was like, nope, not gonna happen. It's not gonna be good. And it kind of sucks that it became, in my eyes, it became a movie, or the ad campaign became about, hey, it's an all-female cast, not, hey, it's a new Ghostbusters movie that's gonna be great. They kind of shifted direction. They're like, hey, we could do this. These are female comedians, and they're gonna be great. Not that this is gonna be a great Ghostbusters movie.
I did agree with James Rolfe in his video when he said if he would have made this like a passing of the torch type movie, that would have definitely made it better. It definitely,
yes.
But it's who you pass the torch to. It comes down to.
And I also heard that the original Ghostbusters, the actors make cameo appearances, but not as their characters.
Right, as a different character.
Yeah, like what a kick in the nuts that is. Like,
yeah, understatement. But if anything, the movie's been released. Thankfully, all this goes away. It dies down. It's on DVD and it's forgotten about. And it's in the $5 bin at Walmart.
True,
So.
and that's when I may think about watching it.
It's unfortunate because, you know, people get excited when movies they grew up with, certain ones, get reboots or like sequels or remakes or whatever, and it just sucks when they end up being not as great as
Like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
The first one sucked. I was really excited for the second one, but I never saw it, so I can't say whether it was okay or not.
The first one did suck. I haven't seen the second one yet. It does look better, I agree. I will say that the TMNT all CGI in like 07, I actually like that movie.
Yes, I loved that movie. I had actually gotten the PS2 game with it.
Yes.
And I was so pleasantly surprised by this PS2 game that I assumed was going to be garbage. It was great. I was pleasantly surprised. I don't remember any other details other than that I liked it.
I actually still have that PS2 game. I like it.
Oh, man.
But yeah, I mean, the Turtles, there's another, you know, like you said. Even though Ninja Turtles 3 was...
Yeah.
But what can you do? They can't all be winners.
That's the one where they went back in time, right?
Yeah. And the guy with the mullet, who's like the French Renaissance guy, who was the villain. Oh, it was just bad.
Yeah.
Well, that brings us this week, guys. The Loot Troop has decided to pick the topic this week, the top 3 this week. And we decided to go with... What's our topic this week, guys?
It's going to be top 3 RPGs. Role-playing games, for those unfamiliar with the acronym.
Hopefully, if you're listening, you know what RPG stands for. I'm just saying. I would hope that they would know. But would you guys like the pleasure of going first?
Yes, Dex is going to go first.
Okay.
Sounds awesome.
All right.
Dex, let's hear it. Your top 3 all-time RPGs.
Okay, number 1 for me is Kingdom Hearts. That was like the first game I ever became literally obsessed with, and I went out of my way to make friends based on whether or not they played this game.
I'm pretty sure I would have put my house and my car up on the market because I knew that was going to be your pick. If I was a betting man, just because I know you on Twitter that you post about it a lot, so I love Kingdom Hearts, though. It's very good.
Number 2 is Final Fantasy IX. I am not on the Final Fantasy VII bandwagon. It is a great game, but I think 9 stuck out to me more because it was very whimsical and a lot more cheerful. There are some sad parts, but I don't know, Zidane grabbed my heart.
It did seem a lot more fantasy-based than Final Fantasy VII, in all honesty.
Yeah.
It seemed to fit the title a lot more.
I'll go even one higher. I'm in the minority where I like Final Fantasy VIII.
I've never played that one. I want to. I really want to.
I like 7 a lot. I'm with you though, Dex. Like, I'm not on the love train with it at all. Like, I didn't get into like Advent Children or any of that. Like, it's cool, but it's too much for the game's long enough on its own. You know.
You don't have to extend it another 15 years they've been extending it. Something like that.
Oh yeah, and then they're coming out with that new one too.
Yeah, the remake, the episodic remake.
I'm actually thoroughly excited for the Final Fantasy XII remake coming out.
Yes!
That is probably in my top 2 Final Fantasy. Probably at number 2 Final. I'd put 6 at number 1.
Oh.
On the SNES.
I've never played 6. Isn't that like number 3 technically or something like that?
Yeah, technically number 3. No, technically it's number 6. It was labeled number 3. We just said it backwards.
Okay, so I've played the actual number 3, but on the DS. So I haven't played 6, no.
The actual number 3, was that where it was like the job system?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the weird one, where it's not like any of the others. But it's good, it's just different. But yeah, Final Fantasy XII, man. I'm so excited for that PS4 release. But 9, I love 9 too. Very good pick. Very good pick. I'm digging your list so far.
Thanks. I don't know if you'll know this last one, but my third of my top 3 it's called Okage Shadow King.
Yes.
You've heard of it?
I've played that game.
I freaking love it. It's like quirky, and I don't know too many people who like it, or know of it. But I remember, I'll never forget, back when Blockbuster was still alive and kicking, after I got a PS2, I would always frequent the PlayStation section, and that game always stuck out to me, and eventually I rented it over and over and over, and then I finally bought it, and I don't know, it has this quirky humor, and I just really love it, and the characters are all very different, the art style is kind of unique, and it's fun.
Very nice. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've played that game. I think that's one of those games that go under the radar, don't get enough love. It was pretty good, I gotta say. Totally forgot about that game, so yeah. Very good list, Dex. My man, what you got for us?
All right. I just made a last minute change, but so I'm gonna go in reverse order. I'm gonna start with number 3 this time.
Ooh.
My number 3 is gonna be Kingdom Hearts 2, because like Dex, I'm a huge Kingdom Hearts fan, but I did like Kingdom Hearts 2 a lot more than I did Kingdom Hearts 1 because of how they changed up the battle system and kind of made it just, I would say, one notch more adult, I would say. It just,
right.
they added, like, the metallic sheen to everything, and it's like, oh, Sora's a little bit older, everything's a little bit more serious, but not by that much. So, yeah, Kingdom Hearts is my number 3. Let's see, my number 2...
Kingdom Hearts 2 is actually... I like that better than the first also. I agree.
There we go. Cool.
The battle system was just perfected in that, so...
Yeah, they refined it a lot. It would be even better, I feel, with the new Kingdom Hearts that's coming out if they did a hybrid of Kingdom Hearts 2 and Birth by Sleep.
I loved Birth by Sleep.
If they combined the 2 battle systems from those 2, I feel like we'd have a perfected system where you could like level up your abilities and stuff like that. I'm a level up whore. If you could upgrade and level anything up, I'm all about it. I'm super about games like that.
You'll put on a fancy dress and you'll level up because you're a whore.
Exactly. I've been known to do it every now and then.
Maybe on a Let's Play no, just kidding. Number 2.
My number 2, kind of obscure. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. It's called Rogue Galaxy for the PS2.
Damn it. You took my number 3.
Wow, why don't you guys go get married or something?
Well, I already bought the dress. No. I love Rogue Galaxy. But
Me too.
You go ahead and explain it to everyone while I think of a new number 3 now.
So the reason why I love Rogue Galaxy, the story, it's very anime tropey, which I like. It's just kind of like, we're out in space, we're pirate guys, stuff's happening.
Steampunkish.
Yeah, steampunkish, yeah. Airships and whatnot. My second reason for loving that game is the, surprise, surprise, upgrade system for the weapons and how convoluted and complex it is, and how there's this, what I felt like an infinite possibility of different weapons that you could create. That's what I sunk most of my time into. I never beat the game.
Wow.
Which was upsetting, but I probably spent too many hours. I know most of the time I was supposed to be doing homework because it was in high school, but I was playing Rogue Galaxy instead. So yeah, that's my number 2.
It was was Akira Toriyama the artist in that game too?
I don't believe so.
I always think but I confuse Rogue Galaxy's art with Dragon Quest VIII sometimes, because I don't know. Those are my 2 favorite PS2 RPGs. Mm-hmm. Disgaea, however you say it, is up there. Disgaea. It's up there too. But
love Disgaea.
Hell yeah, Rogue Galaxy. See, and I just have this feeling about guests and why I want them on, and I knew it. So you got your double dose of, you got your Aladdin and you got your Rogue Galaxy. So your number 1 all-time favorite RPG.
So I'm gonna tell you my number 1, and then I want you to guess why it's my favorite. All right. Based off of context clues that I've given you about 10 seconds ago. All right, my number 1 is going to be Final Fantasy X. Can you guess why?
Because you're a whore at leveling up.
Exactly, because of the sphere grid. And
also fucking Blitzball. Let's go ahead and say it.
Oh gosh, that's... If there's anything that keeps that game from being a 10 out of 10 for
Really?
me...
You don't like Blitzball?
It's Blitzball. I could never figure it out, so I would just let the timer run out. And
You are so lame!
That's why I'll never, ever, ever have Titus's ultimate weapon.
Hello, I'm Titus.
Because I can't win a freaking Blitzball game. I tried a lot, but then I was like, fuck it, whatever. I can't do this.
Well,
your weakness.
Blitzball aside, tell us why you love 10.
The sphere grid, the story was the first like Final Fantasy story that I actually paid attention to throughout the entire thing, and I got engrossed in the story, and I was like, oh my god, I care about these characters, and what's happening with them. So there's that. It was my first real experience with JRPGs in general, because it was the first title, or like the second title I picked up for my PS2. I had Kingdom Hearts first, and then I got Final Fantasy X, and then I ended up getting Xenosaga, which I never finished.
That's a reoccurring theme here.
Yeah, I'm really bad at that.
I'm bad at that too, but if I'm all in on a game, I gotta fucking beat this. I just have to.
It's hard because now, like, it's hard to sink time into these things when I know I should be not playing video games.
Yeah, when we're too busy adulting and being responsible.
Exactly, F that.
But man, I don't know, 10 is a really good game. I can't get over the not liking Blitzball. That's a first for someone. But aside, very, very good list. Both of you guys, thank you for your lists.
Yes.
Now what are yours?
Did you make those changes?
I made those changes. See, now the pressure's on because I went last. I should have gone first. Looking back. Next time, Adam, I'm going first. I feel like I always go last on the show.
Because you're a gentleman.
I'm a scholar also.
There you go.
I try to be. I'm an illiterate scholar. I can't even talk, see? Number 3, the changes were made. I did a little maintenance. I've come to the conclusion that Breath of Fire 2 for the SNES is my number 3.
Can't say I've played that one.
Me neither.
I might be disappointing you even more right now.
No. A lot of people, I mean, when they think of SNES RPGs, they think of their Final Fantasy 3s, stuff like that. This goes under the radar too, one of those games again. It was released in '94 as a Capcom game. Just straight up turn-based RPG glory, but it was done very well at the time.
Didn't they re-release that under a different name?
I don't believe so. I don't think so.
It's not Shining Force, right?
That's on the Sega Genesis. That's strategy RPG.
Okay.
But that's also a great game. The Sega didn't really have its fair share of RPGs compared to the SNES.
Yeah.
That was definitely it. They were the sports games console, pretty much. There's a million fucking football games on the Sega Genesis, so...
There's a million freaking football games for every console ever, and I don't even know why. They could just sell one at the beginning of the console's life and be like, this is it. This is all you get until you get a new console.
Yeah.
And they would still play it every day.
Pretty much. My number 2. God, I love this game. Golden Sun.
Yes.
Man.
Oh, yes. I love Golden Sun. I can't believe I forgot about Golden Sun.
See, I didn't want to do like a tip. I wanted to think outside the box a little bit for my list. You know what I mean? Like, games that I base this list more off of games that catch me and grab me. Golden Sun immediately is one of those games that did that.
Yes. Did you play the third one?
No, I didn't. I barely played the second one.
Okay, don't waste your time. It's
heard
okay.
good things.
It's about as like middle of the road basic RPG as you could get.
That's really disappointing.
I know. I was super disappointed. If they were to remake the original Golden Sun for the 3DS now, with the same thing, just updated graphics and minor tweaks here and there, I feel like they'd have another hit on their hands, because what the 3DS lacks is a very solid turn-based RPG that doesn't have too much fluff and not too much frivolous dialogue, which I feel like a lot of RPGs on the handhelds have.
Right. Definitely. Shout out to more like modern Nintendo. Xenoblade Chronicles X is amazing. I love that game. Xenoblade Chronicles.
That's the one that came out on the Wii and the 3DS, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm playing the 3DS version.
Honorable mentions to that game because that's
Yes.
stellar.
Absolutely. That's another one of those games where I was like, man, they gave you the whole package with this. They didn't cut any corners. They didn't.
Oh yeah.
The port is amazing in my eyes. Graphically, yeah, of course, whatever. It's on a handheld. You're not getting 1080p on a handheld anyways.
Right. And even still, it's a Wii U. It's not like it's that powerful, you know.
Exactly.
My number one, probably a lot of other people's number ones. Speaking of the total package and a lot of stuff to do and being a level up whore, Chrono Trigger. You got to put Chrono Trigger. You got.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
You got to do it. I don't really think there's an explanation needed for Chrono Trigger, honestly. But that's the list, guys. The top 3 this week. Episode number 3. Not a coincidence. That just happened. Thank you guys.
Oh man, that's
so
a whole lot
much.
of threes. That was.
Yeah, I know.
Oh man, that's 333. That's half of.
That's half of Satan.
That's half of Satan.
Were you hesitating?
I was hesitating. I was like, wait, I don't know if that's
333 like Nanny McCree.
Oh.
Ooh.
That's how you summon Nanny McCree.
I just dropped the hotness on the podcast a little. That's about as freestyle as I get. Loot Troop Gang, thank you so much for joining me.
Again, thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you so much for having us.
This was a blast. We had a lot of fun.
You guys have any up and coming stuff on your channel you want everyone to know about? Any new Let's Plays coming out from you guys too?
Pretty soon. I don't know how soon, but eventually we're gonna have a poll out on what we should play next. We're going to suggest a few titles that we've had kind of floating around in our repertoire. So that will come eventually.
That'll come in probably a few weeks.
But as far as other like Loot Troop stuff, I'm gonna try to have a kind of love letter to RPGs and my obsession with leveling up coming out here pretty soon.
And then I'm planning on having some crafty segments based on games that we're either going to play on the channel or that are coming out soon.
Specifically, do you want to announce the one?
Yes, I got an idea from... Well, for sure, it's from Cocktails and Consoles. Shout out to her.
Shout out to her channel too. Great channel, by the way.
And then I forget who the other person was. I'm sorry, but they told me I should do. I think it was Octavia's Kitten, but I could be wrong. It was. They suggested I do a how to paint space thing because I painted my graduation cap and I put it on Twitter and a bunch of people really liked it, and I was thinking of maybe doing a little segment for that when No Man's Sky comes out because that's in space. So
finally,
I know it's finally coming out.
There's 2.5 years in the making.
Yeah,
like
it's still coming out before The Last Guardian. So.
Oh, I know, seriously, and at least that one finally has a release date too. We just pre-ordered it.
Oh shoot, we did.
That game better live up to the goddamn hype. That's all I'm saying.
Oh my god, I'm worried because
I don't think it will.
I don't either. But I mean, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'd rather have low expectations and be surprised.
Yeah, exactly. Can I request something for your craft? I want a Metroid bracelet. I'm calling it.
Metroid bracelet.
What kind of bracelet?
I don't know. I'm being dumb.
No, figure it out. Metroid.
Yes, because I don't have a lot of ideas for crafts yet, and this is just like that. Literally, the space painting thingy sparked it for me, and then I was just like, let's do something with this. So, yeah, it's definitely something I'll put down.
Yeah, those are some things coming down the pipe for us. We still have our Uncharted playthrough that we're cranking out. The
Song of the Deep.
We're planning on doing some more How Not to Plays with some more Overwatch and Nanny McCree's.
Yes.
That seems to be our claim to fame right now are those Overwatches.
And the How Not to Play Monster Hunter, people like that too.
Oh yeah, the How Not to Play Monster Hunter.
I fucking sucked at that.
Oh man, I should put a how not to play Battlefront because I get my ass kicked in that game.
You should do it.
You should.
It's hard. It really is.
I still haven't played it.
Yeah, it's not worth shelling out a bunch of money for. It's basically Battlefield with Star Wars skins. So.
Yeah, that's what I got from it.
Well, thank you guys so much once again. Follow Loot Troop at Loot Troop Gaming on Twitter. Check out their channel, and if you haven't subscribed, what the hell are you waiting for? Get over there and subscribe to these guys. Thank you guys again so much. Thank you guys for listening, and congratulations, by the way, on your 100 subscribers.
Oh yes,
thank you so much.
We couldn't have done it without all of the help that we've been getting from you guys, sharing our stuff and making us feel important.
And talking with us, and
Yes.
not leaving us silently asking for replies.
Well, for the Loot Troop, I'm Travis. We'll catch you guys back here next week. Adam will be back, I'm sure pissed off about a few things I've said about Aladdin. But nonetheless, this is the Hard to Name podcast. We'll see you right here next week.
Bye.
Bye!
Hey guys, you can follow me on Twitter at TheHibickiTMD. Thanks for watching another video. As always, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe. This is HibickiTMD, everything retro gaming, pro wrestling podcast, and everything in between. Right here on HibickiTMD.
Hey, what is going on here?